How's it going, guys? Steve from Stavjet Auto. Today's episode introducing you to a Haltech Elite 2500 install on a VR V6 Turbo Ute. IC7, we've got the Elite 2500 and the single wideband controller. We also got a premium harness which we're going to be wiring up. Alright, so you've seen the goodies, what we're going to install. Now this is it. So this is Ian's VR V6 Turbo Ute. From what I've heard, it is a full forged bottom end build. It's fire ringed as well, so it is built for big boost. Looks like a small turbo there for the time being, but Ian has advised that this will be getting an auto eventually and getting some boost put into her. So yeah, stick around. Just going to be installing the Haltech, mounting that up, so then I can get a base of how we're going to start the harness through the bay and into the cabin. So yeah, gonna be temp mounting this in the kick panel, this in the kick panel, this in the kick panel. Let's get it. Alright, let's fit the ECU and the wideband up. We'll just give it a quick gauge on how it's looking in the kick panel. So we'll chuck them in. Now, my favorite. Alright, can you see me? Yep, you can see me. Can you see me? Alright, anyways, my favorite. Alright, there's one wire going through to the engine bay, and I could feel underneath the tape that it didn't seem like it was joined properly, and boom, look at that. You ready for this? Let's see how much. Are you ready? Let's keep pulling. All right, this is what I have to deal with. All right, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna do ECU connectors up top. Will that fit something like, maybe something like that?
2 very boring minutes later.
Alright, so we're going to do something like that. Then this wideband will go something like this. Up here. Alright, so just dummying up the kick panel, making sure it fits with the Haltech fuse box. So let's so this is just a dummy one that I use to mount when I'm making up plates and whatnot. I just, yeah, quick dummy. We'll riv nut the mounts for the fuse box. So there and there. Mount the fuse box there, and then we'll go ahead and then riv nut for the ECU and then the wideband. Let's get it. All right, so that's it. That's been drilled. Riv nuts. All right, so this morning smashed out installing the ECU, wideband, and the fuse box. So end result. Can we get it? So end result, fit up really nice, really happy with that, and the wideband up there. So fed the loom through the bay. Let's have a look. I didn't see it, it's so sunny, but anyways, looms through the bay now, and gonna start just, I guess, giving it a quick temp fit up, and then we'll go ahead and start just pre-cutting, mapping out the wires. Now, one thing, planning. Alright, so there's one thing that people don't actually realize, and it's the planning stage. So if you're starting off your loom and you're just going, yep, wire here, wire there, wire there, it's going to take you ages. So the most important thing is planning, guys. The planning stage is pretty lengthy. People don't actually realize this, and when quoting for jobs and whatnot, they actually don't understand the planning that's involved in a quality loom. So I guess first thing when starting off looms is definitely the planning. So setting it up in the ECU, and then mapping out your wiring. So you've got the wire colors here, and then you've got, for instance, free input, spare one, so connector spare one, DTM 8 pin on pin 8 inside car. So I actually go through each of these inputs, outputs, whatever's going in the car. It's defined by a connector, which is engraved on the connector, the pin count on the connector, and what pin this particular wire is. So again, plan, map out your harness. You know, something like this, it probably takes me two nights. So after work, 2 nights planning and mapping it out. Now, lots of customer interaction with this, because once this is done, I guess there's no going back. So it'll cost the customer money, it'll cost you time if you're doing it yourself, because you're then going to have to probably start splitting up the loom, that wire didn't go there, and changing it around, or repinning the ECU connectors. So I guess that's a bit of a rundown on the start of wiring up your car or an aftermarket ECU. So keep that in mind, guys. Plan. We'll start mapping out where everything's going to go, utilizing our wiring diagram, and then so we'll do like a temp pre-cut, map out the wires, add in any wires. For instance, like we're going to add in an oil cooler fan, the starter motor, trigger wire, all that's going to go through into the loom. So yeah, let's get stuck into it.
Fifteen minutes later.
So, ran the wiring, what we're using, utilizing our wiring diagram. Yep. So, as you can see, ran the wiring through the factory mounts, whatever you call them. Branched out all the wiring. So this wiring over here is practically going to be like a plug and play style for the thermofan, the ignition, and what else do we have here? Oh, that's for the fuel pressure sensor, which is going to go there. So yeah, the ignition and the thermofan will connect into these connectors. Might just save the trouble, so I might just directly pin it out to the relay itself. Now I want to just show you guys, this is why I hate my job. Look at this. Look at that. No tape, no tape. I don't know if you can see that. It's a good solder joint. No tape. exposed wiring right there. My fear. Have a look. I assume that's for the thermo fan because engine fan is broken off there. How about this? How about this job? Have a suss of this. Pulled the thermo fan off to test it with the power probe to see how many amps the fan draws, and yep, that happened. Let's have a look at this one over here. Yeah, so came straight out of the crimped terminal. Now the main event. Hello. I love shit like this. Look at that solder. Yes, love it. Apart from that, we are looking good. Already started marking up injector wires, pre-cut them. Got the ignition at the back there, which we're going to put like a Deutsch connector at the back down there, and then we're going to have the coil packs up here on a bracket, and same goes there. So we'll have 2 Deutsch for the ignition coils, so that way you can just take that off and boom, take the coils off. So this is going to be this side. Majority of this is actually going to be at the back, so we've got IAC, TPS, and then we're going to have injectors, cam sensor, which is this one here, the one with the grey black, and then that's going to go down down there. Alright, so that's the loom pre-cut, and we've branched it all out to its locations, and yeah, so once you've set up your layout, branched, so with this one I've got 1, 2, 3 breakouts. So you'll see at the back we've got one for the power and starter motor over there. We've got one at the back for the passenger side, injectors, coils, crank sensor, and then another breakout there for the driver's side, and then we've got to the factory fuse box. Yeah, that's practically how I lay it out, and then you've got the junk that's going to be going inside or taken out there. So yeah, that's practically it. Now we get to pull it back out of the car and start sleeving it up and rerouting the wires inside the cabin. Alright guys, loom's on the bench, time to get stuck into it. So what we're going to have to do is start preparing the wiring that's going to go back into the cabin, which we're going to have to trim these zip ties off here, bring them in. We're going to have some sort of a breakout here, and we're going to have to open up this because we're adding in a transmission. Is it? No. So we're going to be adding in an oil cooler relay in here, an additional fuel pump relay in here, and yeah, so that's it. So we're going to be opening up this box. We're going to be terminating some fuses and some further relays in here in the Haltech, because let's have a look here. So there you go. With the premium harness kit, it comes with 2 spares. They give you the terminals to be able to add in those additional circuits. So that's what we'll be doing today, and hopefully I can just take you through this messy spaghetti, and we'll get it tidied up and start making it look closer to an engine harness. So we're not using this one here, so the orange wide is 8 volt, so we can deepen this straight from the ECU. This one, orange white A12. So A is this one here, and 12. So 10, 11, 12. So when depinning these connectors, all you need to do is that locking tab with your nail. Let's pull it out, easy as that. Click that back in. Alright, so now what we're up to is this CAN cable. Alright, so you can plug in a wideband or Haltech IC7 or any CAN device, EGT expander box into the CAN. Now there's two options. You've either got the external in the wiring loom, or you've got internal on the ECU. So at the front you've got where the USB plugs in, and then there's also a spot for a CAN cable to plug directly into the ECU. So what we're going to be doing is, because I do this with all my looms, that way it's already upgraded the power and ground. Now if you go start adding in dual wideband controller, IC7, you need to upgrade the power and ground on this one here. Alright, now internally these go through a 12 volt just sensor, so it's yeah, like I think it's like 1 amp or something real low. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab power to this. We're going to grab it off A26. So A26 is the larger 34 pin connector, and you'll see it. So it's bottom left hand corner, and it's red blue. Not sure if you can see it, but it's red blue there. All right, that goes from the connector up through, and then it's fed back into the fuse box into the injector relay pin 87. So the ECU controls these relays off the ECR output, which is on one of these connectors, and then that will trigger the injector harness. So there's injector feed and the injector like auxiliary that goes into here to make sure that the computer knows that the injectors are working, so we haven't blown a fuse or anything like that, and then that way it knows, I guess the system knows that we've got injection. Alright, so that's what we're doing. So we're going to cut out this 12 volt grey red. We're going to splice into this one, and also we're going to splice into A10. I believe it is A10. Yep, which is that one there, which goes to battery ground, somewhere up in the loom here, which we're going to put onto a cylinder head. Alright, so yeah, we'll start chopping this out. Now I'll also put up the Haltech wiring diagram, that way you can see exactly. So A26 and B10 or B11 join into the same wire, sorry, B10 and B11 join into the chassis battery ground. So I'll put that up here, and then that way you can see exactly what I'm doing. As you can see, I've got the A10, that's A11, I believe. Yep. So I'll put the heat shrink over the top. Boom. Got my open barrel splice there. And let's go like this. So we'll set this one up. All the, you can see your strands. Give that a tug. Alright, not going in there. Right, so that is, see, right, actually I'll show you. You'll see there the strand. That's a bit too long for my liking, so I'll actually give that a bit of a snip there. I don't know if you can see it, but see it.